Hey everybody, I thought I'd do another new video. It's a new year, it's time for a new video, and let's talk about how I learned how to play guitar, because I think that would actually be helpful for people no matter where you are in your guitar journey. I've been trying some new practice routines and it's really been helpful. And so yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to set you down. So we're here in the workshop, fuzzamp.com. Check out that to see more of my current work. We've got cool pedals like the Machina 2 and Hammered. Building a lot of stuff this year, going to be hard at work. But because it's a new year, I have been deciding to practice and play my guitar a lot more. We'll get one set up here in a minute. But yeah, I have been playing guitar since I was 12 years old. Now, when I first got my first guitar, I am lucky in that I grew up in a house with musicians. So my mom was a musician, playing a lot of gigs and doing a lot of music since I was very young. And so I was really grateful to have been in that environment from the very beginning. But when I first got an electric guitar for Christmas in 2002, I wasn't expecting to become a guitarist. I wanted to play Xbox. That's what all my friends did that were in my age group, and the guys that I looked up to, my uncles and stuff. That was kind of the cool thing, was like how good you were at Halo was a lot more important than how good you were at guitar. And I had very little interest in guitar at first, but the very first day I learned some chords from my mom. I thought, out of obligation, they were trying to just get me into the folks were. And so the first couple things I learned is, I think I learned a B minor chord, G, and like maybe a D or something. And so yeah, that's, I think, the first real way that I started learning was like from people around me. Now, in 2002, technically the internet existed and there was starting to be kind of guitar communities, but at least at our house, we didn't have internet access. And certainly if we had, it would have been really slow dial-up. But there was things like tab websites. So as I got a little bit older, and me and a lot of my other friends were getting into music, and I started playing in a band, practicing at my friend's house when I was 13. So there were some other guys that they had some instruments and were interested in playing music, and they said, "You have a guitar?" And I said, "Okay." And I knew B minor, D, G, and I probably learned an A or something. And I was like, well, if we can learn some songs that have those four chords, we'll be set. And so we started getting together. So we've got our setup going. But yeah, so they would pull up like tabs. I forget what is like some website that had early guitar tabs. So I learned how to read tabs, and we taught each other and kind of played with each other in a band setting for a while and started to learn some things. And I think that was what was cool, is that the church we were all a part of, we had like a separate thing outside of the church on Saturdays where bands would play. And so we got a lot of experience, even at a really young age, playing in front of an audience. And we learned a lot of, I think it was like pop punk type stuff, and they were all into like the emo scene and Vans Warped Tour type bands. And so we learned a few songs in that kind of speed. And that went on for a couple years until I was about 15 or 16, and I started taking guitar lessons. I do think there is a time and place for some people to take guitar lessons in person with a experienced instructor. I think it is a really useful way. Once you're past kind of the basics, can you tune a guitar? Do you know a couple chords? I think that's the perfect time when the mechanics of the instrument are a little more comfortable. I think it's a lot harder to walk into lessons or formal instruction without a pretty good basic understanding of the instrument and how it works. I think the very first thing my guitar teacher, Leroy, he still is an instructor, believe it or not, great guy, he taught me where the notes are on the E and A string. So he's like B, A, G, F, E, and then E, D, C, B, B flat, A. And just from those, learning those things and what the notes are all over the guitar, and building off of that, learning scales and arpeggios, and kind of working through some of the things I had real shortcomings with, whether it was my guitar posture. Now, most of the time now, I either wear a strap or will play classical position because it's closer to what it is when you're standing. So if you're standing and you have a strap that's not too low, you're playing in this position, right? Now that we're to this point of the video, let's play that Machina 2 I was waving around earlier and make some noise. But everyone is a different style of learner. So like when I was getting started, I did have a lot of guitar books, and I tried to pick out different things and learn different things as much as I could. I was reading guitar magazines a lot in my teens because that was a big thing at the time, and those had tabs. They had a lot of like tips and tricks and different things that you could learn, but everyone's a slightly different learner. I liked book learning, and I also liked instructional stuff. I liked the experience of playing with other people because I think that really develops your ability of playing in time and in tune when you have to sync up with other musicians. So now what I'm doing, so that went on for years. I think there's kind of the next big evolution is I started learning to record myself in my late teens. I got an interface and was using, I think, Ableton or something that came with the interface at the time. And so learning that same concept of playing in tune and in time, but now recording, I think GarageBand and stuff was big at the time. Now I use Reaper, which is free, and a lot of people, you know, with some learning can get into that. And I think what's important, I think for anyone that's really interested in going far with the instrument, is pretty much most of what you're going to learn. If you dedicate yourself for 2 years to playing seriously, sometimes less, sometimes more, it's different for everybody. If you spend 2 years working on learning to play the instrument, you will be able to learn about 95% of what you're going to use when playing the guitar. And what I mean by that, you'll learn your chords, your scales, you'll learn some songs, which is a really effective way of learning. When you learn just the strumming patterns and the chords that go to different songs, that'll just kind of lock into your brain and kind of unlock, you know, future creativity. All the artists that I listen to, they cite their influences, and you can barely hear it. Like, let's say, you know, Periphery listened to a lot of Meshuggah, Metallica. Like, you can kind of hear those influences, but you know, you draw from who you're interested in and take it in different directions. But by learning song structures, you know, riffs, and kind of how to put together a good riff, it'll develop you a lot further. So there's kind of 3 things that I'm doing now to further my playing, and I think they're really effective. And before, I was working as a solo artist and trying to cope with my own music a lot more. But what I found is really helpful is to learn other music. Even though you might not be I'm not expecting everybody to play in a cover band. I think just that experience of having to learn how somebody else put a song together will give you a lot more inspiration for your own ideas. And that's something I've always struggled with. It's like I never would learn the solos note for note, but I'd write my own solos for the songs we were playing. Or, you know, maybe I couldn't pick out quite exactly what a part was doing, but I'll come up with something that is in the ballpark. I think those are all really effective exercises. So what I've been doing lately to kind of jumpstart and get in better playing shape is I'll start, I've been playing standing up, which is a totally different posture. Obviously I'm sitting down just now for this video. We had a standing section earlier. But for me, what I was realizing is that I have really terrible posture when I play sitting. It's something to learn and develop is better posture and habits and techniques. I think it helps a lot moving forward. But I've been playing along to backing tracks and songs, and specifically the picking out and learning a song by ear. I think developing that muscle can be really helpful overall. And so I started learning a song. One of them, the main riff goes like this. It's like really simple, but it's palm muting that's kind of fast for the whole song. So it's like, but to do that in time with the whole song for the whole song has actually become a really good workout, and I've been using that. It's a good way to practice, because you can instantly hear when you're playing along with the song where you're starting to get off beat or off time, and it keeps you sharp. And it's been really effective for being a warm-up, is because then I'll go to record something or write something, and already my playing is going to be a lot more precise and accurate. And I'm constantly checking my tuning a lot more and stuff like that. Whereas before, I just would kind of grab a guitar from whatever, plug it in, and just make some noise, which is fun, but it's also something that can lead to less effective practice sessions. So besides learning songs by ear and playing along them, been pulling up backing tracks and improvising solos. So, I've been playing in standard tuning more, which has been good, just to kind of get back to the fundamentals of playing guitar, even though this one isn't half step down. My main one is in E standard, so there's so many backing tracks, songs, and riffs that are in, okay, B minor, G minor, E major, D major, whatever. And I've been learning a lot of different styles too, playing along to country backing tracks. So what I'll do, and this is a good exercise too, so if you're putting on a backing track, sometimes if you jump straight in and are just playing like, you'll play your like cool lead lines. It's good, but what I've been doing is I learn whatever the backing track, because I have YouTube just pulling up bunches of these. There's tons and tons of them on YouTube, which is great. It's a great resource. Look, play along to the backing track for a couple progressions, learn the whole thing. So usually I'll have like a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge type thing. And usually some of them it'll like pop up the chord as it's playing it, or it has a graphic that shows the whole chord progression. To play along with that kind of gets you warmed up. You're feeling the song more, and then you go to improvise over it. That's really effective. And so then the last progression would be, so we did first learning songs by ear, playing along to them, getting tight. Okay, improvising and playing along to backing tracks. And then I think the last progression is then going on, opening a session and recording your own music, your own things. And even if it's just, because I have like Easy Drummer, I throw up a beat I have a big library of all the expansions. So I'll put like a basic rock beat, click through a few, piece together, a minute or 2 minutes. Maybe it's just basically an intro, a verse and a chorus, or it's just a verse and a chorus. Loop it, play some rhythms, and then get those good, and then go on and play some leads over it. And all of that, I think, has really been getting me back into better playing shape. The one downside of, what I do most of the time, if I'm making demos or just building at the bench, is that I don't necessarily have as much time. Same with any other working adult. You have a full-time job, you might not be able to just sit there for 2 hours every night like you did when you were in high school or college, or, you have kids and you have limitations on when you can really get into the instrument. So using some of those methods, playing along to songs by ear, playing along to backing tracks, maybe even getting into some recording, you make the most out of your guitar time. Because what would happen before is I would do stuff like this. So like, let's say, because I've got my my Machina 2 pedal here still. So I will sit here, and this is how a lot of my demos work too. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the overdrive side. So it's like, dialing it in just right. Okay, now I'm gonna go on the fuzz. guys, I'm having too much fun playing guitar because now it's actually fun again. I think what would happen is I would just get sick of noodling. I'd pick up the guitar, maybe play some of my stock riffs, dial in a tone, and then, you know, there's not really much to take it if I'm not incorporating something to take it further. But yeah, so that's kind of some of the things that I've learned about playing the guitar better. The best thing you can really do, I think, is either playing or recording with other people where you have to really interface with something other than just a stock loop and have a more of a dynamic writing experience. I think that goes a long ways. Even just learning, okay, if I'm going to write a riff, how do I play that so other people can play with it? I think those dynamics really play into a more effective mastery of the instrument. So check out fuzzimp.com. I hope you found this video fun. I tried to keep it a little more energetic, upbeat. Hopefully I didn't bounce around too bad, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.